Okay, so good morning. We'll start with the today we'll try to solve some more numericals on the vapor compression refrigerant system. See, just like your steam tables, you have something called as refrigeration tables. Okay. In that refrigeration tables, you will be having enthalpy just similar to your steam tables. Maybe for a given temperature, your enthalpy of the fluid, enthalpy of the vapor, entropy of the fluid, entropy of the vapor, specific volume of the fluid, specific volume of the vapor. Just similar to your steam tables, what you found, no? You will get it for this refrigerants. So what are the common refrigerants we try to use it here? So it can be R12, it can be R22, it can be R134A, ammonia. So a couple of 3 to 4 refrigerants. I think it's there. If you open your thermodynamics data handbook by Nijiguna, you will find this refrigeration tables. Okay. The similar to what you find, maybe what you had the Mollier diagram. Okay, we have something called as pH chart for your refrigeration tables. See, we had steam tables and Mollier diagram for pure substance, that is water. And for all the refrigerants, we have what is called as a refrigeration tables and the pH chart. So these things are there, which you can use it actually. Now let us try to look into this particular problem. A 20 tons of ice is produced from water at 20 degrees Celsius. Yeah, water at 20 degrees Celsius to ice at minus 6 degrees Celsius. In a day of 24 hours, when the temperature range in the compressor is from minus 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. The condition of the vapor is dry at the end of the compression. Assuming the relative COP as 80%, calculate the power required to drive the compressor. Take CP of ice actually. It is not CP ice actually. CP of ice is 2.1 kilojoules per kg and latent heat of ice is 335 kilojoules per kg. So most of the time now what we try to do nowadays, instead of asking you people to refer to refrigerant tables and all, we try to give this table in the numerical itself so that it becomes easy for you. So one is at the lower temperature and other one is at the higher temperature. I'll show you the TS diagram and corresponding maybe pH chart and all. I'll try to show you how these things will work actually. Okay, now one table is given. So at 25 degrees, we have all the values: enthalpy of liquid, enthalpy of vapor, entropy of liquid, entropy of vapor. Then at minus 15 degrees Celsius, so enthalpy of liquid, enthalpy of vapor, entropy of liquid, entropy of, you can see there is entropy of liquid and enthalpy of liquid is minus. You have to be a bit careful because it's at minus 50 degrees Celsius. You have to be a bit careful. Now let's try to write the data and solve the numerical. Let's write the data. Okay, what is given? So they are given the temperature of the water. Okay, this is at 20 degrees Celsius and temperature at which you have to produce the ice is at actually minus 6 degrees Celsius. Okay, so duration is, that is time is actually 24 hours. Okay, what is the mass of the ice? It is actually 20 tons. Okay, now CP relative, COP relative is 0.8 times your COP, that is theoretical means it is 80% means 0.8. Then CP of ice, it is 2.1 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin. And latent heat of ice, okay, of ice actually it is 335 kilojoules per kg. This is the information that is given. Okay, now what's happening if I try to represent this particular thing on a TS diagram? Okay, if I try to represent it on a TS diagram or a pH diagram is what is required. Okay, refrigeration. If I try to put a pH chart and TS diagram, let's try to put a pH chart and TS diagram. This is what we have the a pH chart. Okay. This is my, let me put side by side so it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, let me put pressure, enthalpy diagram, temperature, enthalpy diagram. So I have to put the dome. You have to put a dome like this for the temperature entropy diagram and your pH, pressure enthalpy diagram. Okay. So now the process is 1 to 2. That is, you have the, so at the end of compression it is dry. That's what they are telling. That means, so it goes to like this. It is from 1 to 2. The end of compression, this is how it is actually. It is dry. The end of compression, it is dry saturated. Then it comes to, this is what I'm going to see. This is your 4. Then this is a straight line. You got an isenthalpic process. So this is how your pH chart will look like. Okay. Now area under this curve. If I try to put an area under this curve, this is what I have the refrigeration effect. Okay, this is what I can see, the refrigeration effect. Area under this curve is the refrigeration effect. Area under this curve is the work done. Okay, this is your refrigeration effect. Area under this curve. This is your refrigeration effect, what I am showing in the yellow color. Then let me use this thing. This is your work done. Okay, this is your work done. What we can see, the area under this will be the your work done. So this is your refrigeration effect. This is your work done. And what is this kind of process? See, this is your isentropic process. The S is constant. S is constant. 1 to 2 is refrigeration effect. That is heat absorption. 2 to 3 it's compression. Then 3 to 4 heat rejection, that is in the condenser. 4 to 1 is the expansion in the expansion valve. Okay. Now the same thing, let's try to represent it on a TS diagram. What it is actually. So let me represent it. So I have the 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, it's a straight line. It is going in opposite direction. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, because it is dry saturated at the end of the compression. Then 3 to 4. Then 4 to 1 is not isentropic, it is isenthalpic. That's why it is a curve. And if I try to represent the temperatures are something like this. So this is at this is at 25 degrees. This is at 25 degrees. And this is at minus 15 degrees. Okay, this is what I am trying to put a pH chart, and see, this is where you see 3 is the compressor exit. So it's given in the numerical that it's dry and vapor, that is dry and saturated at the end of compression. That's why I am trying to touch your dry saturated line. I'm trying to touch your dry saturated line. Okay, that's the reason why we are getting in this direction. Okay, now I need to look at actually what is the COP of it. I need to find COP of it. So let's try to find one by one. Now let us try to look into this. See, for if you try to consider the process, okay, process 2 to 3. Okay, consider the process 2 to 3. Consider the process 2 to 3. It is isentropic. What it is actually? It is S2 is equal to S3. Okay. What is your S2? S2 it is, see, if you look at it, this condition, it is wet steam, or sorry, wet refrigerant. So S2 is equal to SF2 plus X into SFG2, or SG2 minus SF. So I can write it. So S2 will be equal to SF2 plus X2 into SG2 minus SF2. Okay, now what are these values actually? If you go and check these values are available for me. Okay, these values are available for me. What are those values? That means you have to go and check for the temperature at 15 degrees Celsius. Okay, at temperature 15 degrees Celsius, SF2 is minus 2.1338. Then what is SG? It is 5.0585. SG2, okay, minus of minus. So I need to do that. So I need to calculate I can calculate. So that's equal to your S2. Then what is your S3? S3 is this condition. Look at this condition, which is dry saturated. So at 25 degrees, if I go and check this entropy, which is 4.4852, that is S3. So equate S2 and S3, and you can calculate easily the condition of the refrigerant at this particular point. Is that clear? So that's what I'm going to do. So if I try to substitute here, S2 is equal to minus 2.1338 plus X2 into 5.0585 minus of minus 2.1338. Okay, close the bracket. Okay, this is equal to S2 is equal to minus 2.1338 plus X2 into 5.0585 plus 2.1338. I got this. Now what is your S3? So S3, it is actually is equal to SG at 25 degrees Celsius, which is 4.4852, which we already discussed. Now equate it. Okay, if I equate it, actually what I'm going to get, 2.1338 plus X2 into, okay, X2 into, if you add this, okay, that is 5.0585 plus 2.1338 is equal to 4.4852. I am going to get my X2. So I am getting around 0.92. If I substitute, I am getting around 0.92. So this is your X2. Now, once I know the value of dryness fraction of the refrigerant, I can find the corresponding enthalpy. Okay, enthalpy at 2, enthalpy at 2, that is H2 is equal to HF2 plus X2 into Hg2 minus HF2. Okay, let's come to the table. What are the values actually? I do have HF2 is equal to minus 54.55, Hg2 is equal to 1304.99. So H2 is equal to minus 54.55 plus 0.92 into 1304.99 minus of minus 54.55. If I do that, I'll be getting the enthalpy at 0.2. Now, what is the enthalpy at 0.3? What is the enthalpy at 0.3? Enthalpy at 0.3 is equal to 1319, because it is given in the problem that it is dry saturated. Okay, 1319.2, directly I can take it. What is the enthalpy at point C? That is at 0.4. Okay, enthalpy at 0.4, how much is actually? It is at this particular temperature, HF, which is 100.04. Then what is the enthalpy at 0.1? It is same, because see, here if you look at it, H1 is equal to H4 Here it is H2. So here it is H3 because I sent, see, when you try to expand in an expansion valve or a capillary tube, enthalpy remains constant. So H4 is equal to H1, which is 100.04. Okay, I have told you all the values. These values I'm going to write it. Okay, now let us write it. Enthalpy at 0.2, which is equal to H2 is equal to HF2. How much it is? Minus 54.55 plus 0.92 into 1304.99 minus of minus 54.55. If I do that, I'm getting my H2 as 1196.2 kilojoules per kg. Now enthalpy at 3. Enthalpy at 3. That is H3 is equal to Hg at 25 degrees Celsius, which is equal to 1319.2 kilojoules per kg. Now enthalpy at 4, okay, which is also equal to enthalpy at 1. That is H4 is equal to H1 is equal to HF at 25 degrees Celsius, which is equal to 100.04 kilojoules per kg. Now I got all the enthalpies. Okay, I got all the enthalpies H1, H2, H3, H4. Now easily I can find COP. Okay, first thing, heat absorbed. Heat absorbed or refrigerating effect. Heat absorbed or refrigerating effect. This is equal to what it is if you go to this particular pH chart. H2 minus H1 is the heat absorbed. So here the heat is absorbed like this. Here the heat is absorbed like this. This is my heat absorbed. This is your heat rejection. So H2 minus H1 is your heat absorbed. What is your work done? H3 minus H2. I will get my work done. What is COP? Heat absorbed by work done. I will get my COP. That is theoretical COP. But what is your actual COP? Actual COP is 0.898 times of your theoretical COP. So just multiply whatever the value you're going to get, multiply it by 0.8, you'll be getting it. Is that clear? That's what we are going to do. So heat absorbed is equal to H2 minus H1. So H2 is actually 1196.2 minus H2 is how much? 1319. H2 is 1196. How much is H1? It is 100.04. 100.04. So if I take the difference of it, it is 1096.16 kilojoules per kg. Then what is work done? Work done during the cycle. That is W is equal to H3 minus H2, which is equal to 1319.2 minus 1196.2. I am getting around 123 kilojoules per kg. So coefficient of performance. Coefficient of performance or COP. COP is equal to heat absorbed by work done So how much is heat absorbed? It is 1096.16 divided by 123. I am getting around 8.91. So this is theoretical. What is COP actual? See, I have got COP relative. Okay, COP relative is 0.8. So COP relative is equal to COP actual divided by COP theoretical. That is 0.8 is equal to COP actual divided by COP theoretical. Okay, so that is COP actual is equal to 0.8 into 8.91. Okay, if I do that, I am getting around 7.1. COP actual is 7.1 is the COP, which is 80% of the theoretical COP. Is that clear? So this is how you can find the for the any, you take anything. See, you take any refrigeration cycle, the procedure remains the same. You have to put the pH chart and the TS diagram. And if the values are not given in the table, you have to go and refer to your refrigeration table. That's it. So just you have to do a little bit of practice. Whatever the numericals I'm going to give, you have to practice and try to understand what is given and what you are supposed to do it actually. Is that clear? Any doubts here? Shall I go to the next part? Okay,
Yes,
fine.
sir.
Yeah. If there are no doubts, we'll go to the next one. That's why I'm going slow. I'm not in a hurry. So each and everything, put the pH chart, put the TH chart, TS chart, and find the enthalpies, then find the heat absorbed, work done, then find COP. That's it. If the relative COP is not given, COP theoretical itself is the COP, what you are trying to find. Now, let's go to this thing. What is the mass of ice they are given? They are given that mass of ice is actually 20 tons. Okay. Now, what is the mass of ice produced per second? Okay. 20 tons means 20 into 1000 kgs. That is the amount of ice. Divided by 24 into 3600. If I do that, that is the amount of mass of ice produced. Agree? So, mass of ice produced per second. Okay. Mass of ice produced per second is equal to 20 into 20 tons, that is 20,000 kgs, divided by 24 into 3600. So what is this actually? This is amount of ice. So for your understanding, right, this is your time. Okay, if I do that, I am getting around 0.23 kg per second. That is mass of ice produced per second. Now look at this. Let's go to this thing. See, any of this is a refrigerating effect. See, 20 tons of ice is there. At I need to produce 20 tons of ice, but water is at 20 degrees Celsius. I need to get the ice at 6 degrees minus 6 degrees. So I need to remove certain amount of heat. So if I want to do that, I need to put it on a TS diagram for the water. A TS diagram for the water, or TH diagram for the water, or TQ diagram for the water. What it is actually, how is it? Say, if I have something like temperature, like this is what I have, say, this is what I have. Okay, temperature is there. Okay, then I have what? See, I need to produce it. So I have water at some point which is 20 degrees Celsius. I have to remove heat. Okay, I have to remove heat through it so that I reach a point B which is at 0 degrees Celsius. Are you getting? This is 0 degrees Celsius. This is called as sensible. See, you go back to your maybe pure substances, that we call it as sensible heating. Are you getting? Sensible heating here, latent heat, all those things. We are coming in opposite direction, that's all. Now I have to remove the heat, latent heat, from B to C in this direction at same constant temperature at 0 degrees Celsius to reach point C. Then come to minus 6 degrees. This is B, which is at minus 6 degrees. So I have to remove the heat from the water starting from 20 degrees Celsius till it reaches the point minus 6 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now let us put a simple heat balance. So heat removed from the water at 20 degrees Celsius to form ice at 6 degrees Celsius, minus 6 degrees Celsius. Heat removed from the water at 20 degrees Celsius to reach minus 6 degrees Celsius. Okay, so here at minus 6 degrees Celsius, I am seeing an ice. Okay, let me put it as some Q. First, it is Cp of water. This is temperature of the water minus, it's a, let me put it as, see how much of heat I need to remove. If I call this as QA, this is QB, this is QC. Let me write that, then you people will understand. So heat removed, total heat removed is actually QA plus QB plus QC. What is your QA? It is actually, what is the heat removed from the liquid state. So Cp of water into delta T plus, what is QB? Latent heat of ice or fusion. Given in the problem statement 33-35 degrees Celsius. Then from 0 to minus 6 degree, it is Cp of ice into delta T. Is that clear? So QA plus QB plus QC, if I try to do that, I am going to get the heat removed. See, this is per kg. See, this is per kg. Everything, it's actually per kg. Now multiply by mass flow rate, you will be getting your, what is the amount of heat removed. So what is that actually? That is your refrigeration capacity. If I multiply by mass flow rate, and yesterday you might have seen, refrigeration capacity is different, refrigeration effect is different. Okay, let's try to do that. Now, Q is equal to Cp of water into temperature of water at 20 degrees Celsius to temperature at 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, temperature at 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, T of water minus 0 degrees Celsius plus latent heat of ice plus Cp of ice into 0 degrees Celsius minus your whatever temperature you are writing, that is minus 6 degrees Celsius. Now let us substitute it. What is Cp of water? 4.2 or 4.187? 4.187 into 20 minus 0 plus, everything is kilojoules I am taking. So 335 kilojoules plus 2.1 into, okay, this is 0 minus of minus 6, it is actually 0 plus 6. If I try to add everything, this is the amount of heat removed from the water, that is 431.34 kilojoules per kg. Okay, now what is the refrigeration capacity? Okay, total heat removed. Okay, so refrigeration capacity, which is also called as RC, which is equal to mass of refrigerant per second multiplied by heat removed from the water. So it is equal to 0.23 into 431.31. So your refrigeration capacity is equal to 99.6 kilowatts. Okay, now what is your COP actual? See, COP actual is also equal to your refrigeration capacity divided by the total power consumption, the total power consumed or work done per second per the process, whatever it may be. That is, this is RC divided by your total power. Now, what is your COP actual? 7.1. What is your refrigeration capacity? It is 99.6 kilowatts divided by power. So I'm getting my power requirement as 99.6 divided by 7.1. Your power is equal to roughly around 13.98, so 14 kilowatts. So I need around 14 kilowatts of power to produce 20 tons of ice. To produce 20 tons of ice, I need around 14 kilowatts. So this is how you have to proceed. Any doubts? Shall we go to the next problem?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Let's solve one more problem and we'll wind up. So procedure remains same. Whatever may be the problem you take, the procedure will be the same. Look at the next problem. A food storage locker requires a refrigeration system of 12 tons capacity at an evaporator temperature of minus 8 degrees Celsius and a condenser temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. The refrigerant is Freon 12, that is R12, is subcooled at 25 degrees Celsius before entering the expansion. Okay, so here I do have both subcooling as well as superheating, both are there in this particular problem. And the vapor is superheated to minus 2 degrees. Okay, the vapor is superheated to minus 2 degrees before entering the compressor. It is not entering a dry condition, it is entering at a superheated condition. The compression of the refrigerant is reversible adiabatic. A double action compressor with a stroke equal stroke equal to 1.5 times the bore is used for operating at 900 rpm. Determine the COP, theoretical piston displacement, mass of refrigerant circulated per minute, theoretical bore. Take liquid, specific it as 1.23 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin, specific it of vapor refrigerant as 0.732. All those things they are given. So here also look at this particular thing. They have given the temperature, enthalpy of water, that is enthalpy of fluid, enthalpy of vapor, entropy of fluid, entropy of vapor. So this the problem statement, if they give no, this is how they are going to give it actually. Now, see, if you try to look at it, this particular problem, let me put the TS diagram. The TS diagram should be enough for you to understand to do this. Let's try to put the TS diagram and try to understand it actually. So TS diagram is more than enough. So if you want, you can put the pH chart also, and let's try to put a TS diagram. This is my temperature entropy diagram, and I'm going to put a dome. Okay, this dome is there. Okay, now what is it actually? So from 1, it is going to dry condition. Okay, now this is getting superheated by certain degrees. Okay, this is your minus 8 degrees. Look at this. This is your minus 8 degrees. This is your point 1 and this is your point 2. From there, this compressed. It is going to compression like this. Then, so this is your point 3. Then it is ejecting heat in the condenser. Okay. So this is your, see what's happening here. You look at it, actually there is a little bit of supercooled. So this is supposed to be 30 degrees. Look at this. This is 30 degrees, but it is supercooled by 5 degrees. That means this is your point 4. So this is your point 4. This is your 25 degrees. It is supercooled by 5 degrees. Then from there, I do have the expansion. I do have the expansion like this. So this is your TS diagram. See, if this is minus 8 degrees, this is minus 2 degrees. Okay, if this is 30 degrees, the point 4 is actually, if I call this as, let me call this as 4 dash, this let me call it as 3 dash, let me call this as 2 dash, just representing, that's it. The process is between 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 1. So in this particular problem, I do have both subcooling as well as the superheating, which is an advantage of increasing your refrigerating effect. So my COP will automatically will increase. Okay, now let's try to, this is the process actually. Now let's try to solve this problem. What is the process? The process 2 to 3. Okay, the process 2 to 3 is adiabatic, just similar to what we did actually. So the process 2 to 3 is isentropic. The process 2 to 3 isentropic, that is S2 is equal to S3. Okay, that is, what is your S2? S2 is equal to, okay, your S2, that is your, what is the entropy at point, see this point, plus Cp of vapor into log of your delta T. Okay, log of your delta T, I will write that. So this is S2 is equal to Sg2, that is this particular point. What is the entropy at this particular vapor, plus Cp of vapor into ln of this formula you might have this is actually T2 by T2 dash. T2 by T2 dash. What is Sg2? It is actually 0.7002 plus, what is Cp of vapor is given here, 0.732. It is 0.732 into ln of T2 is actually minus 2 plus 273 divided by minus 8 plus 273. Okay, this is equal to your S2. Okay, this is your S2. Are you getting? This is your S2. S2 is equal to, this is the value. Minus 2 plus 273 is actually 0.732 into ln of 271 divided by 265 plus 0.7002. It's actually 0.716. 0.7166 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin. Now what is S3? S3 is equal to entropy at this particular point, S3 dash plus Cp of vapor into T3 divided by T3 dash. Okay, T3 and T3 dash. But I don't know the value of T3. T3 I need to find here. Okay, so this is equal to Sg3 plus Cp of vapor into ln of T3 by T3 dash. So this S3 is actually 0.7166 is equal to what is SG3? 0.6853. 0.6853 plus 0.732 into ln of, I don't know the value of T3, but I know the value of T3 dash, which is 30 degrees Celsius. That is 30 plus 273. If I do that, I have to get my T3. So I'm getting around 316.4 Kelvin. 316.4 Kelvin, which is equal to 43.4 degrees Celsius. That is 13.4. Delta T is 13.4 degrees Celsius. Are you getting? This is how you are supposed to find your corresponding temperatures. Now, I need to find the refrigerating effect or enthalpies, all those things I need to find it. So if I want to find it, actually, let's find enthalpy at each and every point. Enthalpy at point. So what is it actually? Enthalpy at point 2. Okay, enthalpy at 2. Enthalpy at 2, which is equal to H2 is equal to Hg2 plus Cp of vapor into T2 minus T2 dash. Okay, what is Hg2? Hg2 is equal to 184.2 plus 0.732 into minus 2 minus of minus 8. Are you getting? That's how it has to be. It is equal to 184.2 plus 0.732 into minus 2 minus of minus 8. So H2 is equal to 188.5 kilojoules per kg. This is your enthalpy at point 2. Now enthalpy at point 3. Enthalpy at 3, that is H3 is equal to Hg3 plus Cp of 3 into T3 minus T3 dash. So I am looking at this particular point. So what is this particular Hg3? Hg3 is equal to 199.62 plus 0.732 into 316.4 minus 303. 30 plus 273, which is 303. Okay, H3 is equal to 184.2 plus 0.732 into 316.4 Kelvin minus of 303. So therefore H3 is equal to 209.4 kilojoules per kg. Okay. Now, what is the enthalpy at point 4? See, if you want to look at the enthalpy at point 4, which is equal to, see this point I am telling. See, I am looking at enthalpy at point 4, which is equal to, because there is a subcooling. So enthalpy at point 4 is equal to H4 dash, that is this value minus, okay, minus that was HFC, sorry, this not this value, this value, sorry, this value, that is 64.59 minus C of liquid, that is 1.23 into delta T, that is 303 minus, okay, 298. That is this particular value, this delta T. That is your subcooling. So that has to be subtracted. So then I'll be getting the H4. Are you getting? So enthalpy at 4 enthalpy at 4. H4 is equal to H4 dash minus Cp into T4 dash minus T4. So what is this H4 dash? H4 dash is equal to HF at 30 degrees Celsius. So that is 64.59 minus Cp is 1.23 for the liquid minus 303 minus 298. You know, whatever it may 30 minus 25 or whatever it may, we can put it because it is delta T. So therefore, your H4 is equal to 58.44 kilojoules per kg, which is also equal to your H1. See, look at, because this is an isenthalpy 4 and 1 is an isenthalpy. So this particular point, H is equal to constant, H4 is equal to H1. Now, what is your refrigerating effect? Let's try to find it. So, heat absorbed, first thing, heat absorbed or refrigerating effect is equal to H2 minus H1. Okay, what is your H2? It is 188.5 minus H1 is 58.44. I'm getting around 130, roughly around 130.1 kilojoules per kg. Then what is your work done? Work done, that is W is equal to H3 minus H2. So H3 is 209.4 minus H2 is actually it is 188.5. 188.5 is equal to 20.9 kilojoules per kg. And what is your COP? So COP is equal to heat absorbed divided by work done, that is 130 divided by 20.9. Okay, I'm getting around 6.2. So here I don't have any relative COP, all those things. So directly this is equal to your theoretical this thing. So first thing we got it. The second thing, see what are the things which you are supposed to calculate? Theoretical piston displacement, mass of refrigerant circulated, all those things. Let us try to find the mass of refrigerant circulated. So now, what is the refrigeration capacity? Refrigeration capacity is actually 12 tons actually. 12 tons into 3.5 kilowatts. That is the refrigeration capacity, which is, so mass flow rate of refrigerant is equal to refrigeration capacity by refrigeration effect. Okay, so let's try to look at it. So refrigeration capacity RC is equal to 12 into 3.5, which is equal to 42 kilowatts. So mass flow rate of refrigerant is equal to refrigeration capacity divided by refrigeration effect or heat absorbed. Refrigeration effect or heat absorbed, which is equal to 42 kilowatts divided by 130. Okay, which is equal to 0.323. 0.323 kg per second. This is the amount of refrigerant which is circulated. Okay. Now, in this particular problem, so this is an extra thing. See, if they are asking us to find the theoretical displacement. If I want the theoretical displacement, I need the specific volume. So I need the specific volume. So if you go to the R12, that is Freon 12 refrigerant, from the R12 refrigerant at minus 8 degrees Celsius at this particular point. Okay, so from the refrigeration tables, you have to refer to it. From the refrigeration tables for R12 refrigerant. If you want, you can verify R12 refrigerant at minus 8 degrees Celsius. Okay, at minus 8 degrees Celsius, I need to look at which point? I need to look at this point. Okay, I need to look at this particular point. Sorry, I need to look at this particular point. Minus 8 degrees, that is 2 dash. Okay, I need to look at that particular, because specific column is not much changing. Okay, that's equal to, that is at minus 8 degrees Celsius, that is V2 dash is equal to its corresponding dry condition, which is equal to 0.07 meter cube per kg. Once you find this, then what is this actually? This is a constant pressure. Between 2 and 2 dash, it's a constant pressure. For constant pressure, I can write V2 by T2 is equal to V2 dash by T2 dash. Are you getting? So for constant pressure, between 2 and 2 dash, I can write V2 by T2 is equal to V2 dash by T2 dash. So I can easily find V2. Because I know T2 everything. So V2 is equal to V2 dash into T2 by T2 dash. What is your V2 dash actually? V2 dash just it is 0.07. What is your T2? It is minus 2 degrees. Okay, minus 2 degrees plus 273. It is 271. Okay, so what is it actually this one? T2 dash, it is actually minus 8 degrees. It is 265. Okay, 271 by 265 in 2.07. If I do that, I am getting around 0.0716 meter cube per kg. So this is the volume. Just another 2-3 minutes. I'll finish off. Okay. So this is the volume. So the total volume handled. So total volume handled by the compressor. Volume handled by the compressor. What it is actually? That is V is equal to mass flow rate into your V2. So what is your mass flow rate? Just now we found it is 0.323 into 0.0716. If I do that, 0.323 into 0.0716, which is equal to 0.023 meter cube per second. This is your volume. Also, this volume is equal to, see, this is a double acting. If you go back and see here, this is actually, it's a double action. So I have to multiply by LAN by 60 into I. Okay, volume is equal to LAN by 60 into I. Yesterday we did the same thing. We are trying to do the same thing here. So V is equal to stroke length, which is L into pi into D square by 4 into N by 60 into I. So here I is equal to 2 because of the double acting. Okay, let's substitute it. So what is your V? 0.023. So what is your L? So L is 1.5. They are given in the problem statement. L is equal to 1.5 times your D. So I can write 1.5 times your D into pi into D square by 4 into, so what is the speed they are given? So speed they are given it as 900 RPM. So 900 divided by 60 into 2. So I'll be getting my D and I'll be getting my L. I'm just calculating. So L I'm getting it, D I'm getting it as 0.1265. 1265 meters or 126.5 millimeters. 5 into 1.5, then it is 189.75. Okay, 89.75 is your stroke length. So this is how you can calculate your things what is given in the problem.